You're watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com.
There, that was short and simple.
Good evening, CBG fans.
There you go. Hi, welcome. Hi,
You
guys.
you said we were going to have a short intro, but I didn't think it was going to be that short.
You know what? We've been recording stuff when we've been having meetings, and then I went to get it all to put something together for an intro, and it wasn't there. We didn't hit record. One of us didn't hit record. Al and I are both used to doing this a lot. But what we're not used to is waiting for the other to do something, because he's usually doing it himself, or I'm doing it. Paul doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Welcome to CBG TV and the Three Eye Guys. Peace. Hi, Al. That's the other Al. Oh, over there.
Yeah. Weed.
Al's over there.
And I'm over here.
Down there.
Paul's down there.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a little introduction episode tonight, just so everybody who is watching knows where we're coming from and what we're trying to accomplish. And so, I think that since Paul is the newbie, why don't you go first, Paul? Tell a little story about yourself. Paul has got a very, very interesting life. If you don't know who Paul Hartman is, he's gonna tell you, and you're gonna go, cool.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I'm even gonna make it green, buddy.
Oh, look at that. All the height. You've enlarged too.
Yeah. Well, I am Canadian. Born in Brantford, Ontario. Grew up in California. And that was where I discovered my love of cannabis. And I come from a show business family. My middle brother was Phil Hartman, the late comedian from Saturday Night Live News Radio, and did voices on The Simpsons and a zillion other things, movies, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Greedy with Michael J. Fox. And I grew up in the music business, and with my oldest brother, who's a legend, a Heller Award-winning agent. He was first artist he signed was Sonny and Cher, and he worked for Colonel Tom Parker when he was an agent at William Morris, and even brought Elvis to my mother's house once. Picked him up at the airport. My parents lived next door to the LA airport, and I was coming home from school, and I saw a limousine out in front of the house, and all the neighborhood women were standing out on their lawns, and I was like, I didn't really think too much about it, and then got in there, and my mother was losing her shit over Elvis. And, I had no idea who he was. I was 12. I don't think I got interested in music for another year, and it was the Beatles, right? So, but now later I reflect on it, and I'm like, wow, that was crazy. And I've been growing cannabis since I was 13 years old. I'm now old, and still growing cannabis because I'm addicted to doing it. And there is yet to be a 12-step program, I think, for me. Is that true? There isn't one?
I've never heard of anything.
Oh, there you go. So I guess I won't be quitting that. And then I met Al through a mutual friend, and
several
mutual friends, and we just kind of hit it off, and I've been on, I think, both you guys' shows, haven't I?
You've been on mine a few times. Yep.
And I've been on Kim's.
Yep.
Who else?
I can't recall you being on one of our shows, Paul, but we can change that really quick.
Yes.
Yeah,
we have the ability to do that.
I think I was going to be on one of the psychedelic ones.
Oh, okay. That's why. That's probably why I don't know. Okay, good.
And my addiction to gardening
and eating
spread through everything. I mean, even when I worked in the music business, I always had gardens at home. I always, wherever I lived, I had a garden,
Mm.
and then bought a farm in 1992 in Southern California, and did that until I
Something
was
happened.
yeah yeah, and
Paul went through a similar situation like Mark Emery did. Let's just say that.
yeah, okay, that's a kind way of putting it.
Yes.
And
It
I'm
wasn't
back in
as
Canada.
dismal, though.
I'm back in Canada, and I'm enjoying it. I spent a lot of time in Jamaica over the last 5 or 6 years, growing
Yes.
down there, and that was a real education. COVID brought out some really nice people, he said sarcastically and facetiously. And you really got to see the finer qualities of some Canadian people that go to foreign countries to make money, and they forget what really life is about.
You know, there's a few. We recently on the 420 radio show had we had Paul Martin on. He's in Canada.
You had the Weed Man on one night when I was going by.
Trying to remember his name.
And he was, I had heard that he was going to go to Castle Black and grow there.
Yeah, he said that he was there and he left. And my response was, so did Paul.
Yeah. Well, it's because he talked to a friend of mine in Negril who knew the whole story well, a Canadian, Chris Tomney. He owns a place called the Sea Star Inn on Sea Star Road in the West End, right near Rick's. Really nice guy, great food, and nice rooms at really fair price. Like if you're going to Negril, that is one of the spots. And he has got an insane selection of weed, and it's just a whole lot of fun. The guy really knows how to have a good time. And so he contacts me one day. He says there's a guy here, the Weed Man, and he says he's going to Castle Black to grow there. And I just laughed, and and then I said I'd love to talk to him. And now I'd really like to talk to him since he's been there.
I'm just looking up his name because I can't.
Did you want?
I'm just looking it up on my stuff.
Oh, okay.
It was Charles Scott from the Scott Family Farms. That's who it was.
Oh.
Yeah. We had Scallywag Seeds on last week. On the 12th, we have Todd McCormick, and I'm looking forward to that conversation because I'm growing some of his genetics.
Oh, cool.
So
excellent.
So anyways, so now you're back in Canada and you're sitting here with us boobs.
Yeah. And I just started a job that I can't even talk about because I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So isn't that just crazy?
Oh, your new job?
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You know,
yeah, you got a job.
You got a job.
You're working.
You got a job, and you're doing something you like. And
yeah,
I get that. It's for an LP, yes.
Yeah.
So that's you know what, Paul. We went through this already with Marcel and Darcy because when they came to the show, they were just doing their own thing, and then they were both instrumental in helping get Truro Cannabis started up, which is Lenny. Lenny is the CEO. So we're just a nice little happy family here, and I have decided that if you've got a dislike for legal entities in the cannabis industry, that's your business. I have friends that work in the cannabis industry. I have non-legal friends that have gone into the cannabis industry, like yourself now, Paul. And I'm okay with that. And anybody else who has something to say about that, we'll go listen to another show.
Yeah, I really hung out of the whole thing for a long time. I went on a lot of interviews. Like I interviewed with Aurora and Tweed, and they were meetings that I walked out. I walked out of 2 of those meetings, and it was like, and they were like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Avoiding a train wreck. Thank you."
Okay. Yeah. Well,
they were like, "What? What's he talking about?"
Unfortunately,
did you get high? Did you get high and forget us, or did we get banished to the sidewalk to the side here?
It feels weird because it's like I'm
you're just talking
alternative selves. Oh, wait, there you are.
Is that better? I just, I gave Al admin so that he could do that part because he's used to doing that part and I'm not. I just leave it. But then I removed it so that he could try something else. But you know what? We'll get there.
I don't think I can handle the responsibility myself.
Well, that's why I've removed your admin access and you can sit there and go.
Yes, except that I've been drinking coffee and now I'm awake.
I am not having a good day. I'm having one of those days that I complain about not wanting to have, right? So I'm not feeling well. I had a shitty day in this afternoon. And then people started asking me for lifts here and there. And I'm like, Tuesdays and Fridays. No.
The new philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Leave me alone.
No. Tuesdays and Fridays.
It's usually 15 minutes before I have to sit down and put a show together. And that's fine. I don't mind running around. I like going. I take pictures and but there are 2 days now that I am MIA.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Al Graham is a staple in the Canadian cannabis community. He has been sitting around doing stuff like this for about as long as I have. Maybe I've been doing it a little bit longer, but
yeah, I got started in radio.
Yeah,
about 2008.
We actually have somebody that's done real radio.
I did radio, correct. I was on Rock 107 in Belleville. Paul, you would recognize that name for sure.
Yeah, I was on there. Trenton too.
All right. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. They got one. They got just 2 different locations. Belleville
I believe that's Chorus now.
Chorus Radio, correct. Yeah. Well, at one time it was Quinte Broadcasting. That's what Rock 107 was when I was down there.
Chorus
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't an employee. I didn't work there or nothing like that.
Well,
I was.
They were doing like a Rogers community radio thing, weren't they?
Well, they broadcast on terrestrial radio. Anybody could pick it up. It just didn't have a big strength as far as its reach, right?
Yeah.
As far as the
so you did a music show, Al?
No, what I did, I was part of a 1-hour show called the Flower Hour, and Philip Diesel was the DJ at the time, and I was listening to him. I was listening to Rock 107, and he always had cool tunes during his hour show, and as well as he had the 420 moment where Jay Blaze would call in, and they would always talk about the latest movies that the 2 of them have seen. And so one day there was a Supreme Court Canada decision or something that happened at big court-wise. So I called them up right after he had done his 420 thing, and they were talking about movies. And I said, "Hey, look, we just had this big court challenge, and you guys are talking about movies. How come you're not talking about this in the news? The 420 moment." And he said, "Call me next week, same time, and we'll talk about it live on the air." And for 2 years, I did that. We actually, for 1 year, we were doing that on the weekends, Saturday or Sunday, depending on when he was doing his Flower Hour broadcast. And then for a year, ended up having a segment within his podcast that he was broadcasting through the radio network. And Treating Yourself Magazine was the sponsor of the podcast. So that was back in 2009. It was quite the thing to be able to do all that back then, and share the news is what I was doing.
And back then, we didn't have podcasts. Well, you had a website, you know.
Yeah, I had a website, but then I ended up going to Time for Hemp down in the U.S.
Oh, we don't
and
know. We're
spent
not
some
talking about that. No, let's skip.
okay, spent some time down.
That's where
Spent some time down there, and that's where the Pace Radio Show started. Was down there, and this is the 10th anniversary of the Pace Radio Show. And then come up here. I was with Al for a few years, and
5 or
then
6.
branched out on and branched out. Started the Reefer Reporters here on the 420 Radio Network, as well as the Pace Radio Network was here. And then went on and started the Pace Radio Network, and so now I'm doing that. And I've been a writer for Treating Yourself magazine. I spent a few years doing that, going to events, covering advocacy stuff, like going to the Global Marijuana March, standing up on stage when there's packed crowd out there and getting photos so you can get a great spread shot in the magazine of just the fog from everybody smoking, lighting up at 420.
I have just found a picture of the last GMM that I attended, and it was the last one that they had on the north grounds of Queen's Park. We'll talk about that later because it's coming up next week.
Correct.
And Neve from COM was involved. Amy, everybody that everybody knows in the community was involved back then. And it was the last big one they had there with a stage and everything. And I have pictures of the 420 light up. It's just a cloud of smoke over the whole crowd of people. And there were thousands of people there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, packed. It was wall-to-wall people walking down Yonge Street, like sidewalks and parking spots and the road all included. It was it was pretty awesome. And then sometimes they shimmied us down to a lane in the sidewalk.
I can't remember what year it was, but I went to the last one that Sam Malachi went to.
That's the one that I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I was at. We sat backstage and hung out with Sam and Marco and a whole bunch of other people. I met Allison Murden for the first time then. It was a different time and a different place. But anyways, we'll talk more about that later. Keep going with your speech.
Yeah. Oh, my intro. Yeah. Treating Yourself magazine. Yeah. As I mentioned, I wrote for Treating Yourself magazine. Every article that I wrote was all just about getting the information, the knowledge out there, and sharing that. I looked at it as when the 420 rally started, the only one that was in Ontario at that time was down at Highway 420 and the Victoria Park Avenue, down in Niagara Falls. And then over the years, as everybody knows, things have grown since then. I sort of look at by spreading people know about these events and seeing them, and by writing about them and telling what's going on, I was sort of hoping that would help spread what others were doing, and others would start doing the same thing in order to increase our voices and make us louder.
All it takes is one person to walk away with something that one of us has shared. And, this is like yourself, Al. If one person listens to a show, I'm fine with that. Okay. So hi, 4 people.
Yeah. For 5 years, I was doing cannabis educational documentaries at 4 different locations between Peterborough and Belleville once a month, and I had different themes that I rotated through, like prohibition, science. I can't remember what all there was, but there was 4 different themes. And going around and talking to people about cannabis and making sure that they knew. I was trying to spread the truth because we had always been told the opposite of what I was experiencing. Because when I got my Crohn's disease, I went looking for information and to find out if there was any benefits for cannabis and Crohn's, and found out there was, and I knew that was an option. And am I ever glad that I never chose the route of what so many people end up doing, and that's the opiate route.
Opiates or starvation.
Yeah, correct.
You know,
And so I just said
a lot of pain pretty much with everything that you eat. Right?
Exactly. So I didn't want to end up a stat, an opiate stat, whether it's through addiction or through death or whatever. And I decided to go the cannabis route, and I've had 2 prescriptions for opiates, and that was while I was in the hospital. When I left the hospital the very first time, they gave me a bottle of pills, and I returned those pills back to the pharmacy 3 years later with only 6 pills missing.
The only time I've used opiates is after surgery.
Yeah.
From the shoulder, and that I used up my prescription, and I can honestly say that I know how it feels and why that addiction happens, because 15 minutes after I took 2 perks, I couldn't feel fuck all. Yet I was up all night long because the hydromorphine didn't work. This is the night after surgery.
Right.
I was back. I was back in the hospital at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I had cancer as well, melanoma cancer. I had it removed off my chest. They did. I went a couple months using an oil that I had a friend made with my own cannabis, and I used that. I saw some changes, but I didn't see any shrinkage, and I just basically said, "Okay, this is the line. I have an option of surgery or keep going with the cannabis. I'm seeing some changes, like I said, but I'm not seeing any shrinkage." So I went the surgery route, had them cut it out, and I was really glad to hear that it hadn't reached my lymph nodes yet. So I thought, well, maybe it didn't shrink, but maybe the cannabis actually prevented it from getting to my lymph nodes and spreading amongst my body.
Yeah. I've had similar conversations about cannabis with my doctor, who doesn't understand how I'm still upright, because I was up over 500 pounds at one time. I've got diabetes. I've got some neuro issues, and I've got a mood disorder. So I'm kind of hard to handle when everything drops at the same time. And that does happen. Right? So,
yep.
Al knows what I'm talking about. He's had to deal with me.
Yeah. I could also throw in there, I was a writer for Cannabis Digest newspaper.
Oh, that's right. You weren't you?
Yeah, I was a writer for them, and of course, trying to spread the knowledge. I always distributed the magazine and newspapers to, I bet you, I don't know, about
you just got rid of a whole crap load. He had a whole garage dedicated to every episode, every copy of Treating Yourself magazine that you could think of.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, some of the issues sold out, but I didn't have all the issues. Basically, what happened was that the magazine shut down. Stuff was in storage. It come to a point where it had to be moved. Marco was in Mexico, so I went down and brought it all home. Brought it to my garage. I had a 24-foot wide garage. It was 24 feet wide, and it was 10 feet out and probably about 4 feet high.
Wow. I saw it. It's huge.
Magazines, posters, glass jars, basically, all of Marco's stuff.
We gave a lot of that out at the lounge too in Hamilton.
Yeah. And continued, even though the magazine was gone, continued to distribute the magazines to stores, because the medical information that's in the magazine is still relevant. Yep. And the rest of it, I look at it, a lot of it would be history as far as the way advocacy was done, or way things people learn things.
I have I have 2 issues that I've found from moving. I'm sure I've got more.
Yeah,
and they sit here for anybody to read in the bathroom.
Yeah, there you go. I know right now I can look right over there, and there's a bin right now. It's got DVDs in it of Treating Yourself Expo DVDs.
My friend Kelly is on one of those DVDs. Doing her first interview. We were there 15 minutes. said hi to Marco. Marco said, "Do you want to do an interview with Dr. Bob?" And I was like, "Sure." Kelly, here's a mic.
Mhm. Yeah, because Dr. Bob Melamine, rest in peace, Dr. Bob. He was there.
He was a big part of that.
Sure was 2010. He was up. Len Richmond, he was the guy behind, the producer and director behind What If Cannabis Cured Cancer. The documentary was released there at the expo. And I know for myself, I used that documentary for those 5 years that I was going into the cafes, because as a police officer said, it looked, when he walked into the cafe and it was dark and the movie was on, he says I felt like I was in a science class with a bunch of gray heads. So it gives you the kind of audience that I was getting.
Wow.
Yeah. 50 people
Well,
on a Sunday afternoon.
I mean, I've had cancer too, and beat it with oil and mushroom extracts, and
Mhm.
it's, you know, I never thought of it that way in the beginning. You know, I
No.
mean, it was a medicine for the head, not for the body so much, right?
Well, I think that's
Oh,
also.
I was, yeah.
That's
Like,
also
I
part of
started
the stigma,
smoking.
Paul.
I was
That-
smoking in doobies when I was 13. We go into the pump house for our pool out back and smoke
Yeah.
doobies in there, or go down to the river, get some
we used to go down
flavored paper.
we used to go down to the ravine in Moore Park, which is Upper Rosedale, I guess. And do you remember the white elephant on the DVP, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, that big. It's gone now. It's all what do you call it? Townhouses. But there was an old white building that was built and never finished for whatever reason, and it sat there all through the 60s, the 70s, and part of the 80s, maybe even to the 90s. And there were lots of ravines down and around there, and that's where we found a little place under a storm drain where we could sit on a platform and have a little fire, and the cops would just walk by. They didn't see us. So, you find a place. You find a place.
There's always
Oh,
there's a will, there's a way, huh?
That's right. So is
Did
it
the
my
cops
turn?
ever show up when you were there? Did they ever
You
find
know what? Yes, Al. They
Yeah.
used to ride their big fucking Harleys down the pathways.
Oh.
And we'd be sitting there smoking a joint, and we hear whoop 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 whoop.
What was that, Paul?
Some cream cake.
Cream of tea.
Cream of
Paul has
cake.
to learn how to use a camera. He needs to know. Give him a month and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So we see, I see all these comments coming from Facebook and other places, but I'm not seeing any usernames. So I'm just going to say, hi, how are you? Hi, Paul. I know that was you. There's another one. Is it my turn now? Or are you done, Paul? Or,
I'm done. Go ahead. I'm sure there'll be something I'll remember later on.
I don't
think
want
about
to. I don't want to. No. My name's Al Rapp. I have been sitting in this chair 17 years and my butt's really sore. I started doing internet stuff in the 90s, 1993 to be exact, which was the day they turned the internet on. Before the internet, I ran a newspaper called What's Up Toronto Magazine with my sister. We still do it. She does a lot of posts and articles and stuff, concert stuff. We started doing that and quickly found that industry people liked the fact that a brother and a sister were just going out and telling people what was going on in the city of Toronto, period. No bullshit, no drama. Just here's what we saw. We liked it. We didn't like it. Go see it or not. I took that. We printed one issue. I took that and I converted it into an online newspaper. Before the web, we used a bulletin board system that I cannot remember the name of right now. But we had a few lines where people could call in. My sister and I walked and put posters up all over the city of Toronto at 4:30 at 5 o'clock in the morning. on poles, taping stuff to poles. You know how they used to do those pull tab things. We did things like, talk about what's going on in the bars in the city of Toronto. We interviewed people, met the Headstones a few times. We used to go to movies. Would take my mom, and she would write a review. My sister and I had the privilege of going with a writer down to Woodstock 94. That was fun. Let's see. We just wanted to tell people what we were going to see, Later on, I started Lifestyle Radio. We had a lot of different alternative lifestyle shows running at the time. I've had about 4 different rounds of people with Lifestyle Radio and 420 Radio, and that includes Al.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting journey. As I said, if one person takes away something that we've talked about on one of the shows that I'm involved with, great. And if not, whatever. I am the host of the 420 Radio Show. I've been doing that for 16 years. I do it with Marcel Janak and Mary Jane Baker and Lenny and Darcy and whoever else wants to pop in. And now we're here. Al and I was invited to join in on a new adventure called CBG TV. And the Three High Guys is our first production from CBG TV. We figured that, we're all a part of the group. Might as well do something with the group.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure I've missed stuff, but I'm rambling here every week. You'll pick it up eventually.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Things that come along, you remember something as we go along, either tonight or when we come back again, the next show.
Yep. And speaking of that, we're going to be doing alternating shows between Coverage Radio Show and the Three High Guys. So this week it's us, next week it's Mike, next week is us, and we're going to go back and forth. I think we'll end up with 3 a month in some cases because there's that extra week. Trying to just, I could have just said, let's do it on a different night, but I like the idea of giving people something different. It doesn't get boring. I enjoy Mike's show. He plays a lot of different stuff from all over the world. If you're into indie music, punk, metal, alternative, and indie, they're on the network 7 p.m. every other week on Tuesday. Yeah,
that sounds cool.
Yeah, well, I think you've listened to it.
I know that through Boxcast, when I see some of the numbers that show up on Boxcast for and knowing that Boxcast, what's on there, I'm going, wow, really?
Let's talk about that. Boxcast is where we send our stream to go out on Roku and Apple TV and Amazon and all that. And then alternatively, we're broadcasting the show as well on iHeartRadio and a whole bunch of other places through Spreaker for our audio people. Some people don't give a shit about the video. Al has a number of shows on his network that we broadcast on CBG. We broadcast all of my shows on CBG as well. We've got some new content coming on CBG that I think people are going to be very interested. It's new. And you can watch it in your living room or on your TV in your bedroom.
We haven't made any official announcement yet, and that's coming. That's coming.
Yeah, we still haven't done that, have we?
No. It's on the agenda, though.
Well, okay. So, who is involved with CBG TV is myself and Al Graham and Irene. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah. Green Irene
Irene.
will do. Green
Okay.
Irene. Everybody knows her as Green Irene.
Okay, and funny enough, my sister, who does not use cannabis in any way whatsoever, she is so not into the community, but she is in charge of all our money and our books and stuff like that, so we know we're all safe and sound.
And it's been really easy for her because there is no money.
That's right. See, the good thing is that once she registered our business, we're an Inc.
Yeah.
She's taking care of all the banking stuff. So the only thing I really got to say is, if you are a startup cannabis company and you'd like information, my sister's a bookkeeper and she knows how to set up the books for a cannabis company, and just get a hold of me and I can put you in touch with her. It would help if you were in Alberta, though.
Oh yeah, it's a virtual world these days, though.
It's
Right?
like my doctor. I asked my doctor if he'd be okay if I stayed with him, even though I moved out of the city. I'm like 1,700 miles away, and he says, "Yeah, I have lots of patients who are scattered all over Ontario now."
Oh wow!
Yeah, well,
Because I know sometimes they say, well, you're just too far away. Somebody else needs that.
I've been with this
spot.
guy 40 years almost.
Oh,
And
good.
I think that has been lifted a little bit because of COVID, because of doctors doing virtual appointments and stuff, because that's what I did. The only time I went in was for blood tests for diabetes stuff. So is that a cock ring?
No, no, that's some ice wine rosin. That's ice wine rosin right in there.
Did you squish that yourself?
We squished it yesterday at the Cannabis Temple.
On your squisher? On my squisher?
Yeah, on your former squisher. Yes. Yeah. Just so you know, I got it on video working and squishing.
Oh, you did?
It.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, I did. I'm gonna. I haven't tried it yet, Paul.
Well, like, what are we waiting for, bro? Milk that shit out.
I've got it in my Shatterizer.
Oh, I miss my Shatterizer. I had to leave it in Jamaica.
Oh, well, we know some people. Yeah, this was ice wine. What happened there was one of the guys one of the vendors came over, and we were pressing some cannabis. We've done it a few times at the event, and he walked over and told us about this strain that he had. G13 was one of the crosses of it, and he told us all this stuff: certain heat, how much he would get out, how much we should get out of it. Talked about it being bubbly, all this stuff, because he's obviously been making his own. And so we did 7 grams, 14 grams, 14 grams. Well, yeah, 14 grams. He's 14 grams. Just make sure I got it right. He said something about we get 3.5 grams out of it if we did it at 210 degrees. So we upped the temperature. Normally we don't go that high, so we upped the temperature because that's what he wanted to do.
Really? I go up to 220.
Do you? Well, he figured 3.5 grams, and we got 5.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Out of 14 grams of weed?
Yeah.
I usually get 0.7 out of 5 grams. That's what I usually get.
So then what does he do? He says, thanks for doing that, and you guys can split it between us.
Nice.
So what we did is there was a fellow who'd been sitting there, and we had squished some of his cannabis, and so I don't know if he was involved in that in any way, but we gave him some. So he went home with a few dabs, just for sitting at the table, right? And I don't know what you saw. I came home with some.
I enjoy the fact that there's no solvents. I can, and so my little process that I've done, because it's usually just me I'm squishing for. I go and I'll take 5 grams. I'll stick it in a cupcake, parchment paper cupcake thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll put another one on top of it, and then squish those, and then just it's really quick. I don't have to play with parchment paper. I just
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
it's
no,
good.
we
I
we
always take
we
the pucks. Do you keep the pucks?
yeah.
What do you
Well,
do?
what we've done with some of them in the past is we actually sent them. This is about a year ago. We sent them down to the East Coast, down to Chris.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we filled one of those boxes that you can get from the post office for $20 and sent it down the sent it down to the East Coast.
I took all of my pucks that I've been gathering since I bought it at the farm, and we made cookies for the dogs and ourselves.
Yeah.
Today we made Bud butter. I put 15 grams of shake and Bud into my magic butter machine and a pound of unsalted butter and turned it on for a few hours. And then we took the mush. Dean's going to dry it out and then incorporate it into a batch of cookies for his old dog. She's 12 years old and she's blind and can hardly hear and can hardly walk,
Oh.
But since we've been giving her cannabis in the form of cookies, she's perked right up. She runs to the door when I walk in, and it's nice to see that she's resuming her life, even though she's having a hard time even getting up on the couch now. And I've been through this. I went through this with Buster, as you know, Al.
Yeah.
And you went through it with your dog as well, right?
Yeah, Callie, yeah. And she's still on. She is still the wallpaper on my desktop computer. And she's been gone 7 years.
Buster has been gone a long time. I think Al had the privilege of meeting him.
Oh, I met her. Oh, yeah.
That's my buddy right there. He's my phone. What I did was I dedicated my phone to my pal, and I call my phone Buster.
There you go. There you go.
Buster saved my life, so it's a dogs are very close. But anyway,
yeah.
You were going to say something.
Yeah. Joints, Jamaica joints. Paul, are they all baseball bat? Are they all baseball bat joints down there?
Well, yeah, pretty much. You kind of have to.
I'm laughing because when Al hands me a joint, it's like I smoke these. Okay, I double up my Gazette papers because they're just not big enough, and I smoke cannons, as Al knows.
Yeah,
and then Al gives me a joint, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And I will tell you, my friend, a joint coming from Al, a regular Ziggy joint coming from Al, will put you on your ass quicker than one of these, I tell you, because he's a very good grower.
Well, thank you very much.
I can't wait.
The reason I asked that, Paul, is because I've got this video here they've got lined up. Al, you'll have to add it to the screen there. You see it there, Paul?
Yeah. Oh, that's like the biggest joint in the world or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
420.
Yeah. The size of it.
World records.
How many pounds a meter in that?
Exactly. For me, I feel that's just
We're about to go down Vancouver 420.
Did they actually smoke it?
Well, yes, they did. They did, and I've actually got the video of them lighting it. Just give me a second here. And
the last time I saw
I'll tee that up.
a big joint like that was in Hamilton at 420. And it was, well, let me be nice. You're not going to see any big raw doobies anymore, I don't think.
Oh,
Sorry, raw lovers. If you love raw papers, tell us. So while Al's looking for that,
Okay, here you go.
one of the things that we're going to try and do here is
Okay.
be very short and
I've
sweet.
got it. I've got it here.
Okay. If you feel like calling in and saying something, do it.
yeah. Ask
You
a
wanna-
question,
You
heckle
ask
us.
a question, hit the comments, tell us you're listening.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get used to this. But the whole idea, and if we like what you're saying, you might even be invited to call into the show. We do have Skype available to us, so we'll put that out as well if anybody wants to use. Does anybody still use Skype?
We're gonna be talking about a
Yeah.
variety of topics, not necessarily about getting stoned too. Like, hopefully we avoid politics, but
The idea is to, there's the 3 high girls. Is it 3 high chicks? Al?
5.
5 high chicks. There's lots of shows, lots of podcasts with a bunch of girls sitting there talking about pot and interacting and stuff like that. But there's not a lot of just older high guys. So here we are, older high guys. We're all in the same age bracket, pretty much.
Yeah. I've got the video
the old-
teed up. I've got that video teed up again.
World's biggest cannabis joint. Getting lit. Happy 420. Vancouver. 419. Go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it. There's
So-
there's 3 minutes of darkness, but you could hear all the audio for some reason.
I bet you can see that from outer space.
I betcha. Something I will mention is that both the guys are in the process of getting better internet. Al's about to start broadcasting from space,
Yes, it just
which is what I
arrived
tried
in
to
the
do at the
mail.
farm, but they were laggy-gagging.
Yeah, the Starlink system just arrived yesterday, so we're in the process of trying to get it all figured out and get it all set up. And you know what another good thing is? I won't have to lean back like this to read anymore because I've got new glasses on the way too. New internet, and I'll be able to read. Geez, we'll be good.
And
The
I'm-
Starlink, is that the Elon Musk thing?
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I wonder how many people we're going to lose because of that.
Does
Well,
everybody
as you
dating
can
on
see-
Elon these days?
We're on ExploreNet out here in the country, and I have issues with the internet and trying to do podcasts and stuff. For example, we recently did try to do a pre-recorded show and on StreamYard, and it allows you it smoothens everything out. Well, after we did that, it was still 6 hours later, and it was still uploading and smoothing out my video. It took that long,
Yeah, I know.
and it was only 80% done. So,
I had good bandwidth on Rogers at the farm, which is not too far from Al's. But then we had a big storm and it knocked everything out, including the hydro, for a few days. And when it all came back, the internet was never the same in that area. It really wasn't. It was a lot slower. And from that point on, I couldn't do any shows. I even had to go up to the top of the hill there and sit in my car a couple of times just to do shows.
So here we could have 3 TVs going.
Yeah.
Then also had me doing podcasts and a kid or a kid or two on an electronic thing, right? So
Like what's happening now.
It's
Yeah, I like how he
Yeah.
puts that little digital enhancement on his voice.
There's been a few times when Al sounded like Max Headroom. So, but anybody who
I didn't notice
broadcasts
a thing.
anybody who broadcasts on the internet knows that it's the internet. It's not a solid hard line. It's the internet,
Mhm.
right? So
That's right. Yeah.
yep.
So we'll
we're-
see what happens.
Yeah. Dead air. Dead air.
Oh, I thought you froze.
And it was actually one of those stoned moments. you know.
Let me ask you a question, Al. When you
Okay, well, we were going to.
what we were going
I
to
was
talk
saying
about?
we were going to talk the Global Marijuana March.
Oh
You
yes,
know,
please.
About this year's Global Marijuana March, not past years.
That's going to
This
be
year's. I
interesting
was
to see if we can pull that off.
Yeah, because it's this Saturday, as usual at Queen's Park. People gather at 12:05. The march starts at 2. That's what it's been in the past.
Yep.
The North Park. Now, today in the Global Marijuana Facebook group chat, it was brought to our attention that on May the 6th, this Saturday, the same day that the Global Marijuana March at Queen's Park, but at South Park, South End, they are having the coronation or whatever you call it of the king being held there. So will Queen's
Yes.
Park become King's Park?
Which means
Is
he
one
will
question.
be there, which means the pot people may be out of luck this week. Unfortunately.
There's going to be heavy police presence. Yeah,
Oh,
cannabis is legal here and all that, but
Yeah. Not
just trying
police
to get there.
presence. They'll
Oh,
be
no.
sissing everybody.
Not like it was easy to get there to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, Christ, just on a regular weekend trying to find a spot to park. Never mind when they're doing this.
Yeah.
So, like, I I don't know if I want to spend the 2.5 hours driving down there and then find out we can't even get to the park. Might be just a day tour. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because they could have the park closed right off. Like
Well,
they've
here's
got all
the question.
kinds of events going on. It's just not some presentation on the stage. There's all kinds of things going on in the grounds, whether it's bouncy castles for the kids to hot
They have a
dogs and
music
different
ride,
events.
food and everything. Kind of like what we do at
Yeah.
420 or for the Global Marijuana March, but for the king.
Yeah, back in the festival days.
So here's the question for you, Al. Are you going?
Well, presently, I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on the thread to see what's going on. The plan is still to go, and we would broadcast live from there.
You know,
It would be nice.
I remember going down and like thousands and thousands of people were there. And then you said last time that you went, there was like 100 people.
No, yeah, that was last year, and that was a quote that I took out of the chat thread that's going on, and someone said that last year's, which would be probably the beginning of the after COVID, there was about 100 people there.
Like
That was
I
about it.
remember like, we've been going down since we've been doing all this stuff, but I mean, I usually I stay at home and run the board and stuff like that, just because I can't walk around as much. But
It was radio then too.
I was just going to say there was no video, so now you know, we got video, and we actually did our first event with video down at the Can Expo. Or Can Expo?
No, CBG Can Expo, and then did you run the board? You ran the board during the Kind Winter Fair. That wasn't really CBG. You know, there's still ongoing stuff at that time. But that was the first time we actually worked together as two different networks in order to create something.
Karma Cup last year, Al. We did the Karma Cup.
Was it?
That was the first thing. Yeah, you and Irene went, and I stayed on the thingy. I was still
right.
was I in the city? No, I was up here. I was up
You
here.
were up there. Yes, yes, I remember that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we won't be able to do that
Paul,
this year.
you know, you're more than welcome to sit. And what we do is Al and Irene or whoever else will go to the event, and I'll sit here and just watch and change the videos and stuff like that. So you're more than welcome to sit in when we're doing that, Paul. Because Paul doesn't get out much.
I'm planning on going to a lot of the weekend ones. Right?
Are you?
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've never really done it, and I'm gonna and I'll have some kind of video system.
We will figure that out.
Yeah,
We'll get you an iRig.
and I
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, because I can walk at an event. I can walk in front of a loudspeaker, and Al can still hear me.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like $40 at Best Buy.
Well,
Really?
the kind winter fair this past winter is a perfect example. We used to run
This is
into it
an
at the green
iRig
markets in the
mic.
past.
This is an iRig microphone, and it's made. Where's the plug here? It's made to plug. You plug it into your phone. With the newer phones, the new iPhones, you have an issue, but you plug it into your phone, and then you plug a headset. Plug a headset into that, and these are condenser mics, so they're in your face kind of mics. So unless it's in your face, you can't fucking hear anything. And Al would be standing right beside the speaker at Karma Cup with tunes going. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. He can't hear shit from us, but he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm down at the Karma Cup, blah, 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 blah. And we could hear every fucking word they said. So,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So now I've got
technology.
yeah, and now I've instead of using earbuds like in those days, now I've got an actual set of closed headphones.
You know, I was thinking what we should try, Al, with that is one of those karaoke mics because they have a little speaker on it. You know what I mean? So you Bluetooth your phone to the karaoke mic, and you get
Yeah.
the speaker. So you would hear me on the speaker, and we would hear you and your guests on the microphone.
I if it was like the kind winter fair, it wouldn't work. I wouldn't be able to hear you, man. It was it's too loud. It was just that loud. I just gave the mic to people. I yelled at them, and then just let them talk.
Well, you know what we should do is we should hit the CNE this year. See what they got going on.
Walk around the CNE grounds.
Go on the rides and shit. Can you still go on rides?
Oh,
yeah, no, I can't either.
and-
So maybe we'll find a young person that we can clip a camera on.
I don't know. Maybe Irene's into riding some roller coasters or something for us.
The last rides I went on was the wooden roller coaster at Wonderland, and never again. It was in the rain too. It was on a media day. There was no lineup, so my sister and we sat on it. We went like 20 or so times because it was boring. There was no line. So, do you want to go again? Sure, let's go. Last night was like, holy fuck.
No, the Flyer was the last roller coaster I was on at the X.
I missed the Flyer, and I believe that is down at Playland now.
Oh yeah. I haven't been
It's either in Rye, New York, or
55 years.
What's that other big park in the States?
Six Flags.
It might be at Six Flags. I know that a company bought the Flyer many years ago. It moved to another park, but then it's been sold and moved again.
That'd be that'd be hard to move, wouldn't it?
Well, you know, it's all wood, so no, it's all bolts and nuts. That's all it is, and you know, they've moved fucking they moved all of those Egyptian tombs because the Nile was about to flood them, so they actually cut them up with those big long string saws because it's what do you call it, rock soapstone, right? So it's easy to cut. They literally cut it into sections and then moved it 1,000 feet up the wall and put it on the top so that it
Mhm.
could never be flooded again. Otherwise, we lose all that shit. This
Oh wow.
this is where the pharaohs were found and all those big, right? Yeah. Pardon
Right.
Alexa.
Right.
Pardon Alexa's voice there. She's interrupting us. She's telling me to take my pills at 8:00.
Oh, I'm trying to find. I see I got a screen here that's not working right. Oh, I closed off. Oh, there it is. Okay, hang on.
He found it.
Ah, I found it. Ah, there we go. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So hopefully we'll
Right.
be able to raise your video up to high def by next week.
Wow,
Yeah,
that would be
hopefully.
awesome.
When are you going to hook it up? Hook up your thing, your Starlink.
We have to figure out. No, I was just before we came live on the show. I was talking to my son-in-law, and we're just figuring out the mounting location
Yes.
and where to run the cable through the wall into the house. Now,
Like I suggested
unfortunately,
earlier, is there already a satellite system in the house?
yeah,
So you could utilize that kind of a line, but it came with stuff.
well, yeah. It'd have a completely different plug on it in the
Oh.
one that's in it now versus the Starlink hardware.
Is it?
So
is it
we'd
the
have to
kind
run.
that
We'd
you
have
push
to. We have
in
to
and
run.
turn?
No,
Is it the,
no.
Okay.
No. You got to drill a 1-inch hole
Wow.
in your wall to get this plug through it.
Oh, okay. That's a big
Yeah.
hole.
That's what I went. Wow, that's a big hole. In order to, and the thing is that that's the size of the plug. That's not the size of the wire, right?
No,
So
the
then you got
wire
this
is
fucking big
the
hole in the wall, huh?
That's
So
I did a 1-inch hole on my floor here to bring up the cable from the basement for my
yeah,
box, but I'm not seeing it. It's hidden. It's underneath the box, right?
exactly. And who knows? Maybe that's what we'll do is we'll bring it into the basement.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then bring it up through the floor or something. So I'll check after the show, see what's going on, see what he figured out, if he figured out anything, and go from there. So
Yeah, you'll figure
they
it.
do.
It's just
Yeah,
finding it.
they tell you to put it on the ground and get it all set up first, and then go ahead and mount it.
So you bought the mounting clamps?
No. Looks like we're gonna make our own instead of paying $200 for a mount.
Yeah. Make some U's and then screw them to your whatever.
Yeah, it could require just get a post because it's on a post that goes into a base. So if you can just get a pipe that you could slip it down in and secure it in there.
Yep.
And then just take that pipe and attach it on somewhere onto your the fascia of your house. Then you'll be good to go. Other than that, you got to spend $200 on a mount. Now, I must say I was, able to get a good deal on the equipment. Save $500 on it, but
So what's it
hopefully it
cost?
works. Well, okay, originally it was $759. I saw a special for $350, so I ordered it, and you have to do a pre-order, and then once it's available, you confirm your order.
Yeah,
So
I didn't get
when
that far.
I confirmed my order 2 weeks ago. Yesterday they launched a promotion, and they've cut the price again to $199.
Yeah.
So it's $200 now. And I contacted them, and they are reimbursing me my $150. They're putting it towards my first payment of my first month's of internet fees.
And
Awesome.
what's it cost a month?
Depends on what package you get. Mine's $140 a month, and then your taxes. Right now we pay, yeah, and
And what kind of
right
speed
now
are
we're paying
they?
110. We're paying 110 right now for exploring that.
when I canceled my account because I was waiting, but I had already moved up here. When I canceled it, it was down to 3 and change from the 659 or something like that.
759 is what it's regular right now. And then you can get it for your RV. Over here we're promoting his stuff for them, but you can get an RV version. It costs you more money, but if you had an RV, you drive around, you can have internet wherever you were, as long as you had a clear sky.
I think that you should get a few free months for doing a review.
Yeah, sure, I agree. I think so too.
Beta test it. Yeah.
What was that, Paul?
Beta test it. Yeah.
Well, when I signed up, it was
yeah.
for the beta program. That's when I signed up. It was for the beta program. That was 2 years ago. I signed up.
Oh,
The hydro came on at the farm, and I signed up for it because I was, like I was saying earlier, I was having a hard time broadcasting shows from the trailer on my cell phone, like Al's having a hard time now, right? Because that's basically what he's doing. He's using ExploreNet, but that's the same shit, right?
well, yeah, I got swirly faces going on, man.
Do you?
If you haven't noticed.
You microdosing, Al?
Me, I have been, yes, every day actually.
Have you?
Yep, I made a crap load of 0.15 ground up of blue meanies, and I take them whenever I fucking feel like it. I took 2 the other day, and I had a really nice day, and I got a lot done.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not shy when I say mushrooms, various different strains of mushrooms have kicked the depression right out the fucking door, and I'm okay with that.
Stop.
I'm not laying in a lump on the couch all the time. You know what? I'll be honest. I have not had one nap on my couch here in Terrace Bay. No, I go to my bedroom.
Real name. Yeah.
Hey, Google, set an alarm for 2 hours. Are you guys using any of the? Do you guys use any of the little tools that you can get, like Google Mini or Alexa or anything like that? Do you guys use those?
No.
We've got one.
Yeah.
It's supposed to work with our Fire TV, but it doesn't seem.
I have a Google Mini in my bedroom, and the sound is fucking awesome. And I have an Alexa in the living room, and I'm keeping the Alexa in the living room when I open the bed and breakfast, so that people have a little thing they can look information on, so they don't have to use my computer.
I always find it handy to say, "Hey, Google, what's the weather going to be today?" And then it'll tell me, and then I'm done.
Well, I have it set up. I can control the heat, my TV. I have a light, my phone. When my computer disconnects, Alexa gets upset, tells me my computer is disconnected.
No wonder she got upset.
She's quite mouthy, that bitch. Here's the funny thing. Okay, when I
She's a total snitch.
When I first started using Siri, several weeks after, the lady that voices Siri started following the 420 radio show on Twitter. I was like, no, she's very pretty. Siri is very pretty. Yep.
And where's she live?
I don't remember, buddy. I don't remember. But there is an actual lady that does. Siri is not AI. And speaking of AI, AI, you know where I'm going?
AI. What's with this owl everywhere? Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah.
Every time I read in the paper, ow, ow.
I'm working
Yeah,
on
it's not
that.
AI, it's AL.
Yeah, that's right. It's Al. It's not AI.
I wish they put a small I in there, really,
the guy that developed artificial intelligence for Google has quit,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he's
yes.
informing people that you need to be careful because this AI shit, it's going to be dangerous. We're going to end up in a world. Hello, Hal. How are you today? Remember Hal? Do you
Open the
remember
pod
Hal,
bay
guys?
door, Hal.
It's
Open the pod bay door.
2023. Do you guys remember that movie? Do you remember Hal?
Yeah. I don't think I can do that, Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was fucking creepy. That was the first time we saw anything like that. That's a fucking awesome movie. The movie is 2010. What was it? 21,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
No,
What?
it was 2000. Was it 2010?
2001 A Space Odyssey? Is that what it was?
I think it was.
I think so.
Let me Google it. Since I have a computer here. Hey,
Boy, you
Google.
ding this on the date, huh? It's like George Orwell.
Yes, it was 2001 A Space Odyssey. That was now 22 years ago that this whole thing, Hal, was supposed to take everything over. And then we had, remember Y2K? Ooh, that was a big stinky, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Yeah, the house I was in, the guy ran over and turned the power off at the stroke of midnight.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. That's so perfect. Everybody lost their shit, didn't they?
That's fucking hilarious.
Like, quick, let's go to the bank.
Wow.
Oh, shit. There's a couple of things I like to mention.
All right.
There was, two things, I guess, offhand. I don't know if you saw Ted
I love
today.
Ted.
He was live.
Oh, Ted Smith.
Pardon me?
I thought you meant the
Ted
movie.
Smith, yes. Yes. He had a press conference today about filing a constitutional challenge.
I
against
did
the
not get
province.
to watch that, so please fill us in.
Okay, well, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I caught it just right there towards the end, and then I turned around and I shared it around to different groups for people to be able to watch. And he says that they've been preparing for this for years. He's looking forward to getting our case before the competent court to resolve their issues, which not only affect our patients but impact medical cannabis users across Canada. Our lawyers have prepared solid constitutional arguments that should protect both the organization and Forest Health Canada to make changes to their medical cannabis program, and that would include higher dose edibles and the lack of storefronts is what this is all
Let's
about.
take a second and please explain who Ted Smith is for anybody who doesn't know, because he's a very important person in the Canadian cannabis community.
Yeah, Ted is with the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club. It was something that he started 1996. So you're looking at 26 years ago. 8,500 members was the last one of the last numbers that I had gotten from him, and they were in the same location for 22 years, and then recently we're told that they had to move.
And
So
then
they
again,
moved down the road, and they did it right on the street. Everybody grabbed stuff, and they moved it from one building to another. And then shortly after they moved, they got raided.
yeah, they were
Took their
also
stuff.
raided. They kept going in a camper van, and they got raided in there as well, I believe.
Yeah, and Ted was in the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club, was involved in a very important cannabis case here in Canada, and that is the Smith case. That's with Owen Smith, who is no relation to Ted, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was his son or something like that for a long time. I thought so.
Yeah, no relation. So Ted has been instrumental in helping make changes here in the country. Been helping patients for years, decades. Like he started out of the van, the Cannabis Digest newspaper, as well. So he's had this news conference. You have to go listen to it to get all the details. But they have started a constitutional challenge to increase those dose levels above 10 milligrams for patients and as well as storefronts. Because presently here in Canada, as you know, guys, we can't go to the stores and talk medical. Why not have a medical storefront?
Well,
it makes sense. Have a medical storefront or have it inside a recreational store, or at least where someone can go and talk to someone who's educated.
Yeah, and that was Neil Magnuson that had the camper, not Ted.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Who is also somebody that is a proud Canadian and an oil man and a helper, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward. That also involves that $6.5 million fine that the VCBC and TED have got separate fines, but total $6.5 million. Like that's through the CSU, and there's more coming because of this last raid.
Just a couple of weeks ago.
On top of it. Yeah. And
they
base it on what they base it on, how much stuff they get, product they get, how much the value of the whole thing, and then there's these multipliers that come up with the fine.
Yeah, well, they go by street prices and stuff like that, and they figure out how much and how much it's worth, and then they set a fine. I watched some of the raid because the cameras stay on for a little while, and the police, they know Ted. Ted knows them. They were talking to them on, he was talking to them like he knew them, and they basically came in. They did, and they said, "We're going to do what we have to do and leave." And that's what they do at that point, because there's no kicking in the doors. They're things like that. When they raided the lounge, okay, they brought a fucking battering ram. Now, Paul, you've been in the lounge, okay? Was there a need for a battering ram? It's a fucking glass door.
Yeah, I'm like, seriously, that's crazy.
But I'm glad that
big time.
I'm glad that Ted has continued. He has persevered and personally given up a lot so he can do this. I mean, he's
big time
to do this. Has he been charged? Has he been in jail for this? Doing this stuff?
Throughout the years, I'm sure he has spent some time, but none of these recent things. They just seem to come in and take the stuff and then issue the fine.
The last few times, that's exactly what's been on the video. Yeah.
They just basically call them legal robberies. That's what some of the people say.
Yeah.
I remember when they raided Chris Enns in Nova Scotia. He actually put in to get his product back and got it.
Yeah.
Some of it, anyways. Some of it.
Yeah.
Sure, not all of it.
And they make sure that these people, the members are patients. They're not a rec store by any means. And they're also trying to get lounges.
There is a gray area that if you are a medical patient, you can do things a little bit differently than a recreational person can do. Correct?
But yeah. Well, there's that section of where you. I can't remember the number, 265 or something about helping save someone's life. That's really? All you're trying to. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some code in there. With
you're allowed to gift a medical patient.
In legal world, yeah.
Yeah, a medical patient can gift to another patient. Another patient who is getting that gift is allowed to remunerate said person for their product.
The cost
of their products. Yeah. So I mean, not sell. No, remuneration.
It's not sell.
This is one of the reasons why a lot of the events that are happening now in your neck of the woods, Hamilton and Toronto, they're called bud swaps now. There's two things going on right now. Bud swaps, or three things actually. Bud swaps, events where the people who are doing it have been doing it so long, it's like, fuck you, come and get us. And now
Yeah.
you've got there's a club in downtown Toronto that you have to be a member of because it is a social science setting. So when you go in there, you are setting yourself up as a test subject to be
Correct.
tested. And you go in and you
Yes.
test products and see how they. It's a lounge, and everybody knows it's a lounge. But because it's scientific, because it's medical, it seems to be working. This is where they had the first legal testing thing for Karma Cup. She had a pre thing there.
Yeah. New one. Yes.
That sounds crazy. Like, so you go there and you can consume weed there and test things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's entertaining.
Yeah. So you'd be documenting your results, right?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of people
Yeah.
and videos of people there, and they actually have a sheet of paper in there with questionnaires on each strain and things like that. Now, I don't know how that information's actually used. If it's used. I know that when we were doing Hope Hamilton, we had a form where people filled out, right?
Yeah.
Correct, and you do that with the Karma Cup in the legacy version of it. You do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think though in a session, and this is something to complain about the TY Expo was that for their cup was that you had a day and a half, if that, to test 21 strains, and how could you properly test 21 strains in a day and a half? But
that's why I like with the Karma Cup, you get like the legacy version of it. We'll talk about the legal version in a second, but the legacy version was about $600-700, but you get over 100 samples.
It's 125 samples. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's butters, concentrates, rosins, resins, bud, topicals, food, candies, munchies. It's everything. And
there was there was even Paul. There was even the one year there was this edible that you could swear to God that it was a frosty nug. It looked so real. It was unreal. It was good. You could eat.
And what was
really
it?
Impressive.
What was it?
It was
candy. It was like a candy cane kind of thing that was but it was shaped like a muzz, a nug. You bite into it and it just melts in your mouth.
Crazy.
I've had one.
It was good. It was good. There's no doubt about that. Now this, now things are a little bit different. You want to get into that now? Talk about how it's that we know as far as what we've seen. Anyways, I haven't talked.
But I'd like to know, Paul. You said you've never been to an event, right?
Never been to one of the cups.
Oh well, you're going to go this year.
Cool.
Yeah. I've seen a thread that mentioned that it was as if there's something that might happen later in the year.
He doesn't want to upset Sarah.
No, I'm just trying. I don't know who exactly said it, right? But it was on a thread. Somebody asked about is the cup the same as it was in the past? And
we don't know.
They got upset when somebody from the Karma Cup responded back about they had fought for legalization, and legalization is here, and they've basically joined the legal world, and this is the way that the new cup is running.
So what is happening is,
and they're saying like, who says the festival's gone? And
I don't know.
For an example,
Yep.
yeah, if, for example, we attended the Kind Winter Fair and the Summer Fair. Those are events that has vendors at there. So who knows? Karma Cup could come back with a legal version of vendors.
Well, here's my thoughts on it. I've known Sarah for a very long time, and I've admired what she's done with the Karma Cup. It's my favorite event every year. Okay. Has been since the beginning. But for me, to go from a judging pack with over 100 samples to choose from to a judging pack that's half the price, it's $301 or something like that.
Somewhere, yeah, $300 some odd dollars. I know that.
And but what it is I believe it's 6 samples per package, or 3.
I was thinking it was 4. There was 4 different packages, 7 samples in each package. You could get all of them, which equaled 28 grams.
So so you get an ounce, and typically at the store I get lower priced ounces, but that's an average price. I'm just looking up on the.
You can go buy pre-rolls. I know I've paid $20 for 3 pre-rolls. So I paid $36 for one. So
What's that?
I'm gonna pull up the Karma Cup website while we're chatting.
Okay. It's a Remo Farm supercharged joint. So you know who Remo is.
Yeah, so what's it infused
joint.
with?
Pardon me?
Is it infused?
Yeah, it's infused. It's 2 grams of cannabis with kiff as well as diamonds, THCA diamonds in it.
How's it taste?
Yeah, a friend of mine and I, 420 Deb, we smoked one and we put the timer on it. 45 minutes it took us to smoke the joint.
Wow. I'm going to have to find that.
So I've pulled up the Karma Cup website, and can you guys see it? Yes. So we're just going to read what it says here. There's Naomi.
What does legacy to legal mean to retailers?
Yeah. Can you see that well enough to read that, Al?
Yeah. Legacy brands like ours have established themselves years before cannabis legalization in 2018. We have spent a decade crafting our reputation and earning respect from consumers. Our loyal fans of legacy consumers value quality and innovation. Some of these fans have hesitated to explore the legal market. Our proven track record has earned us their trust and admiration. In 2023, we look to attract many of these fans to the legal market for the first time. And legacy consumers expecting legacy brands like ours to maintain high quality standards. We take on the important challenge of welcoming them into the legal market. We are asking authorized retailers to welcome us into your stores to share in this challenge. That's what it says.
What are your feelings about this? Al? We've talked about it, so I know.
It allows the event to continue.
Yes.
I'm curious as far as what
it wouldn't. It's not. That's not. We're not saying it's not continuing in its current. Like it has.
Yeah, exactly. I can. Like, you got to remember the Karma Cup, it started out as a judging, and then the festival came in afterwards.
Yes.
Has it now reverted back to that where it's starting with the judging, and once they get that all ironed out in another year, will the festival with the vendors come into play?
I would like to see a Karma Cup that involves legacy, reservation, and the legal market all together. Maybe down the road that'll happen. But until it does, for me personally, this is not the Karma Cup that I know.
Oh, it's
the Karma Cup
it's the one we know. Yeah.
In September, where I go and walk around for 3 days and come home and sleep for a month. That's the term. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see what it says here about the judging kits. I hope this goes off. I really do. I'm looking forward to see what happens. So let's go down here and then we'll figure out where to get it. So here's what's going to
Oh.
happen.
Yeah, they say, unlike past years, the 10th annual judging kits are being sold by category. Soon we'll have 4 judging kits available through the OCS and licensed retailers across Ontario. Each judging kit contains 7 1-gram samples. The 4 categories for up to grabs are indica, hybrid, sativa, and pre-rolls.
Sorry, Al, where was I supposed to go? Oh, sorry.
Keep going. You're going good. No, keep going down. Discover the ultimate cannabis experience with the Karma Cup judging kits. Good thing I do the news shows. I didn't know how to. Get ready to evaluate your cannabis adventures. Let's see. Each Karma kit is packed with excitement. Dive into the carefully curated selections of the finest cannabis products from those categories. Explore 7 blind samples that guaranteed unbiased evaluation. Gain access to executive judges' portholes using a unique proof of purchase code. There's a guidelines to evaluate each sample on the visual aroma, flavor, appearance, burn effects, and more. And that was, the same as she handed out the books in the past, and then we would input them into the website.
It's a lot of work.
Download the Karma Cup. Oh yeah, a lot of work.
I don't think I was running back and forth with my kit at the lounge, and I don't think that, and people were helping me judge, and I don't think that I even got through everything. To be honest,
you had to have a party to get it through it all. It was just so much, Paul. Like, holy fuck! I had 8 people at my place, and I gave them stuff to take home to test.
Exactly.
And so, what's each one of those packages cost?
The old ones were about $800, my understanding. Oh, you went too high. Hang on. I was trying to see something there.
Sorry, I'm a little too high. I'm sorry.
Yeah, learn how the 7 grams kit was stolen. We held 2 sample sesh events where industry professionals and cannabis connoisseurs selected the top 28 products out of nearly 100 entrants.
Okay, so that was the sesh that they had at that place that I was talking about.
Yes, that's what I would say too.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and so what was the weight of that sesh with the professionals? Like, did that carry a certain percentage of the decision, or?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think there might have been a link back there. I'll go back. Keep scrolling back a bit.
The sample sash.
Right there, the sample sash.
There we go.
They say the Karma Cup. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. It talks about the Karma Cup. They said they smoked a lot of weed at this year's 28 finalists. Okay, it's it just basically talks about the same information I've already gone through. Scroll back, scroll out. Yeah. Why is it important? What is blind testing? Blind testing is competitors like the Karma Cup ensures fair and unbiased judging. Tasting and judging a product blind means the judges do not know the producer, brand, or cultivar. It has nothing to do with blindfolds. So you can see what you're token on, right?
What if you like blindfolds?
Yeah, if you like blindfolds, who knows? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, scroll again. It says the 2023 judging kits.
Oh, I've got to go down here. Yeah. There we go.
Let's see. Talks about basically the same thing. 7 1 grams.
See, they got an indica, a hybrid, a sativa, and a pre-roll package.
Yeah. They say that pre-rolls have generated $70 million across Ontario. and the 7 pre-roll finalists were assessed using similar criteria to the bud categories.
I'm actually surprised that they don't allow bulk marketing and in like in a pack of cigarettes kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Scroll
surprised
up a bit
that
more.
hasn't happened yet.
I've seen stuff like that in BC, but I haven't seen it here.
Well, you see, this
I'll be
is
right
another
back.
thing that we should mention is that this is in Ontario. This isn't Canada wide. The Legacy event in September, people come from all over Canada to go to that, right? So, did Al leave? He left us. Al, you left us.
I'm coming. I'm almost back. Here I am. Gail's in the shower, and the cat's ripping the rubber seal off the door.
So let's jump to the conclusion so that we can go on. We'll chat about something else.
Yeah. The conclusion. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just skimming through it.
People
So
read
I'm
like
not reading Steve's stuff. Yeah, the selection of the finalists that will be listed on the OCS through Karma Cup sample sesh was significant achievement for us and our partners. The sample sesh judging panel was able to taste and experience some of the best cannabis products in Canada, none of which happened without a lot of work. We're proud of the effort we put together or forward to make this happen. And I'm very excited for the public to see what we've put together.
I hope from the bottom of my heart that this is the new chapter of Karma Cup.
Yeah, I think it is. I'd say so.
I'm just not there yet. That's all.
Well, as they say, they're working to bring people into the legal world, and it sounds like maybe that's what you're one of those ones that should, they'll be working to bring in.
Well, I mean, I use the legal market. It's all I have access to here, and well, aside from mail order, but and I have it. I was stubborn about it, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
I
always
was very hesitant. Well, that's where I'm going. I mean, even Al uses it now. He's found some products, Urban Remos products and Shatterizer products and things like that he likes, and he goes and gets. And that's what I do when I run out of my bulk. I run over to the LP store and I buy something from the OCS.
I don't need to buy cannabis, but I don't know, like all my years of making products, I've never made a beverage.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for beverages to come onto the market, and that's what I went for, was the beverages. And now with the help of Legacy 420, I do make my own beverages.
Are we done with Karma Cup?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
All right.
So when is that event?
I don't know. I just closed the website.
There's no actual festival, so I don't know how long the product is available in the stores for. You'd have to go to your OCS store and order it.
Let's look on the OCS website.
So did the Mohawks do an event?
ICC is on July the 21st to the 23rd,
which we will be at, hopefully.
They do not have media passes, just so you know.
Yes, I saw your post. New products. There is still nothing up to purchase anything as of yet on
the OCS website.
Yeah. I have seen a date. It is also, they've also included the Karma Cup information in their monthly newsletter. So if you get their monthly newsletter, you'll get some information. I believe I have it in I might have it in my mailbox.
Just the fact that it got into the OCS, run by the government.
Yeah.
That itself is really what surprised me. Like being that the OCS partnered with the with a legacy event like that.
Yeah, I found the
think that
email. I found the email here, and I'm going
I just
to copy and make it bigger. Preset media.dd.
all right.
No.
We got what do we got on there on the clock? We got 20 minutes left.
Yes, we do. Okay, so can you see this?
No.
Yes, you can. This is an email I got.
There
Exciting
you go.
news, blah blah blah. What I'm looking for is dates and amounts.
Is there anything in that email, in that newsletter?
No.
Hey,
Here
Kat,
is
stop calling it.
a post. Here we go. This is from the OCS about no thank you. About judging kits.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that? Yeah.
It's really small letters, man. I really have to lean into the progressives to be able to read that.
There you go.
Oh,
that helps.
did you write it with a crayon, Al? Big? Oh, perfect.
yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's skim through this here because we've already read all that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's going through some of the products there. Yeah.
It's blah, 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 blah. CBN, CBC, ABC, 1, 2, 3.
Sour stuff.
Wow.
I usually stay away from those candies because of Crohn's concerns.
Yeah, that would I would think that might. I'm not seeing anything but descriptions of these products.
And these are the products that are will come maybe eventually in the kits as they release the different kits.
Maybe, although why they would name the products that would be in a blind judging thing, I don't know.
Oh, the pre-roll kit looks fun.
Yeah, there's the
I could go
24.5 gram pre-rolls. That's what you get.
Huh.
They look so short with those big filters in them.
Oh yeah, I can't. That's like 3 puffs and you're done.
I know. I bought my first pre-rolls. I bought when I opened the package. I thought,
So
what is this?
what we're looking at
choice?
is the I guess the news stuff they send out there, and it's not giving you much information. It doesn't have a date. You haven't had her on, I guess, lately.
No, I haven't had her on the broadcast.
Well, we will keep you informed as we go on, and hope for the best. Good luck.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tune in 2 weeks. By then, I'm sure we'll have some sort of some update on that.
I forgot you were listening there, Todd. Todd is an old friend, a buddy of mine. So we've got 15 minutes left.
Okay.
And go ahead.
I want to do a shout out to Tang.
Go ahead.
You know who Tang is?
No.
Who Tang is? Tang isn't his real name because I can't pronounce his full name, but so I'm calling him Tang. Tangaraja. It was his name, and you notice I use past tense. Tang was 46.
I know who you're
the country he lives in is cannabis is illegal. You get hung.
Yes, sir.
For 500 grams.
Yep.
You get hung. We can store 500 grams in our homes legally.
Yep.
Tang
Actually, there's no limit anymore, I don't think, is there?
Storage limit. There's no limit.
That guy they just hung, hung him. Oh, the guy who never even had contact with the weed.
Yeah, correct. He never touched it. He never touched the cannabis. They said that his phone number was used in the transaction.
He facilitated it.
Yeah. So they hung him.
Yep. Last week.
When I was a kid in California, this would have been 1961. the law said it was illegal to have been in a place where marijuana had been smoked. It was a
Oh.
felony.
No.
And they could
Illegal to be in your home.
They could arrest you for suspicion of having been in that place.
I've been watching Lone Star Law, and
Yeah.
it's a show about forest rangers, basically state police in Texas, who look after the parks and waterways and all that. And every show, I guess this would be 2018 shows or something like that. It's not legal there yet. It's just happening now. So it's funny for me to sit there and watch. I've been binge watching this show. Every show talks about, cannabis is illegal here. You can't smoke it. You're going to get a fine, blah, blah, blah. How old are you? How old are you? It just makes me laugh that you watch old cops shows and they're going full out doing cannabis raids in the forest,
Yeah.
and
To
now
scare
in
people?
2020 they're trying to scare people. They're trying to educate people, but of course they start with, I don't want to be the one that preaches to you, young feller, but you need to find a better
Yeah.
way with your life. Cannabis is not it. And they don't even call it cannabis. They call it marijuana.
Huh.
Marijuana.
I had to walk to the
And-
bank the other day, and I'm walking along and I'm smoking a joint on the walk, and all of a sudden I hear, hey, you. And I turn around and here's this cop running up on me. So I take a big hit and I blow it out. And he goes, oh, you're not the guy we're looking for.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, that's so weird, like he didn't even give a shit,
well, I mean,
and it wasn't against the law.
here's the thing that I like about some cops. During the GMM, if it goes off this weekend, you'll see what I'm talking about. The Metro Toronto Police actually do the security for the event, and
Yeah.
they'll walk with us, showing support. They're doing their job, but I think that that's really cool that they will walk with us to protect us, because there are people out there that will fight with us. Still, we just talked about
Yeah.
somebody being
yeah.
hung.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Regardless of
hell?
World
Why-
War III or not.
Yeah. I look at it as people wonder why do we still need to protest? Well,
And
no,
that's why
locally,
these-
why to protest?
Yeah, that's
Increase
why these
grammage,
events,
increase amounts that we can take with us.
Yeah.
No
but that's why these events are
lounges.
still going.
We're
We're not done yet.
Yeah, lounges. I think that's really important to have some place where we can socialize,
Well, drunks can
Aside
go and
from-
drink
and
something,
there's,
but
there's people on the in the legal world. There's people who are lobbying for them, for the lounges, and for people to add to that lobbying is getting out there and protesting.
let's last final word. Let's look at the success story of one Ed Fortune, otherwise known as NJ Weedman. This is a guy who's been busted countless times and just keeps coming back. He will not stop. Now he's got two clubs, one that he's redoing in New Jersey, and one that he's there's a big opening coming in Florida. He's got a couple of boats that he's taking cruises out, and he's doing what he set out to do. He's been doing it a long time. The first time NJ Weedman came on my show, he broadcasted from his grow room, and I don't, have you ever had him on the show, Al, on your show?
No.
He used to be one of our stand-in guests. You know who I'm talking about, yeah, Paul?
Yeah, yes.
He used to be one of our stand-in guests. We had a lot. Jeffrey Peterson, the 420 comic being another one. And so we spent a lot of time talking with Ed, and they just kept coming. He had the weed mobile where it was all painted up and shit. And drive around and they would pull him over all the time. And, you know, he makes a stink, right? He doesn't just sit there and go away. Right.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
He'd make a stink. Is that a stink because of the cannabis smell? Or are you talking about stink because he was
that was an unintentional what do you call that word?
fun?
No. When you say something that's in the conversation but it's not intentional, fuck. Yeah.
I didn't say that. It's
Did
a
you see
fuck up. I
look at the Facebook comments, Al. It said that Rocha Ramen was sold.
I have to look at it on my phone because I don't have the comments access here.
Well, we'll fix that next week.
Tonight.
Actually,
anyways,
you do.
Lenny
found it. Lenny found it the other day. If you click on the 3
we'll
dots,
get that fixed for the next podcast.
Yeah.
So
I read something about Rotorama, but I don't know anything about it. We'll make sure that we look it up. I know that I know the hot box was sold, which was the original Rotorama. The hot box was sold, as well as Hot Box Jamaica, the hotel or the bed and breakfast that Abby started. Other than that, not really up. I mean, it's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
but it's gone.
Kensington
Market was a huge place for cannabis.
Huge.
Yeah, and now it's. I think there's a few legal stores there, and that's about it now. I know Jody tried to open a store there.
I agree.
Jody's place
I agree.
So great. Why did it crash so hard?
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to start an argument. I know that there was some issues going on between her and Abby. I'm sure that Mark had something to do with it. I don't know. I really don't know. It was a really nice looking place that I thought could maybe find her own niche.
We had the digital gremlin there.
Yeah.
It was Al Graham on steroids, except it was Al Rapp with the digital gremlin.
Maybe.
You guys are both.
Oh, I see
I can see my lips moving.
Oh, the digital gremlin. We're working on getting their internet better too. So hopefully next week, and hopefully this experiment is. Oh, there goes Paul. This experiment hopefully.
There goes Paul. Well, this was better than some of those meetings we had where he had some really bad internet.
Yep.
And he wouldn't even last.
He had to move. He had to move his he had to move on his table too. Now there's 2 of them.
Oh, look at that. Now there's 2 of them.
Now you can see what you look like.
There's 2 of me. Whoops.
Okay.
So, Al, we've got a few minutes left. Please tell people what is going on CBG TV this week.
This week, what is today? Today is Tuesday. So tomorrow morning, Lifted Mornings. It starts at 8:00, and then at noon there'll be Cannabis and Creative Visualization. This week will be a rebroadcast of a past show while Green Irene deals with family issues, passing of her brother.
Yeah.
And then following that is Wednesday night is the Pace Radio Show. Thursday morning we'll have psychedelics and cannabis educational news. As well as Friday, you got the 420 radio show, and then Saturday all day Saturday is back to back broadcasts of everything that ran through the CBG TV network, and there's 3 minutes between each show because of required server things. Just think of it as a commercial break. Go for a pee, go grab something to eat, finish on your joint, whatever. And the next broadcast will fire right back up, and you get that at cbgtv.com as well as our Facebook group on Saturdays.
Yeah, and you can also find us on the Boxcast app on Roku. We're working on getting our own Roku channel set up, but there's been a fuck up. So you can find us on Boxcast for sure. If you have a Roku TV. We're also on Boxcast's channel at Apple TV and I believe Amazon.
Fire TV.
Firecast, as well as you can watch it on your Chromecast on your TV as well.
Yeah, we are the only cannabis channel on Boxcast.
But we started talking about that, and I'll just bring it up real quick. The reason we found it interesting that we're on Boxcast is a primarily Christian broadcasting network, and we are their only cannabis channel. Yes, and
there's literally thousands. There's thousands of worshiper channels.
Yes. So if that's your thing,
praise the Lord.
We're the Church of Cannabis over here.
Right? we have our, on CBG TV. We have our Spiritual Sunday broadcast. It's live at 4:00.
Yep. And the other the other thing that I want to mention is what CBG
that's through KGL TV.
That's right. Is several known cannabis broadcasting companies, systems, whatever you want to call us. 420 Radio, Pace Radio, and KGL TV and Green Irene's THC. We have been broadcasting shows for many years. So we've got new shows and a lot of old shows that we're broadcasting on the CBG network together. You can watch everything CBG at cbgtv.com, or you can check us out at 420radio.ca, lifestyleradio.ca, paceradio.net, and greenirene.thc.ca. greenirene.ca. Okay.
Is what Irene's is.
So there are how many shows going a week now? Different shows.
It can be anywhere from 13 to 16 broadcasts a week, depends on what's going on with weekend stuff. We leave Saturdays with those rotations shows as a a review of things because when we cover live events, we don't want to have any full-time shows on the Saturdays, because we'll go to these events, and if there's a full-time show, then we get asked, just switching around, where it's just easy for us to cancel our this week broadcasts, and we'll go to events and cover them.
That's right.
So,
I look for
and we get more providers that join in. We'll get more broadcasts as well.
The idea is to provide folks who want to have cannabis content to be able to access it relatively quickly. We've got to go, gentlemen.
We got to go.
Exactly.
I was just looking at that.
Yep.
About this at the Global Marijuana March.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just so I remember.
Don't forget to bring that on Saturday.
I'll have it.
Was that full of weed?
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. What was that, Paul?
I said, is it full of weed?
Probably.
No, it's the bag I use when we go to events. It's got microphones and headphones and everything in it. So.
I'm sure you'll find a pre-roll in there. This is the Three High Guys podcast. You can hear us every other week on Tuesdays at 7:00. Next week we've got the Coverage Radio Show. He's done over 200 episodes. We've got lots sitting on our YouTube if you want to check them out. Thanks for listening.
Please come and join us in our next one.
Yes, we've got some really cool guests lined up. So
yes.
So we'll talk about that next week. We'll have some dates by then.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. We'll see
Yeah,
you
we
next
better
week.
end. Boxcast is almost over, man.
Yep. Bye bye.